Hey, sports fans, PB&Z Sportscast. Guess what? It's Army-Navy weekend. Go Navy, beat Army. That's my buzzword. Hey, by the way, PB, you got the funky Buddha going on?
Yeah, this Funky Buddha. It's Funky Buddha Shant IPA. It's a brewery down here in South Florida, actually in Oakland Park, right near Fort Lauderdale. This one's a lighter IPA in terms of its like content. It's only 4.6 carbs, only 100 calories, but it's got the taste of like a full body IPA. So they call it the repeatable IPA because obviously you can drink multiple of them without getting
Oh, I like that.
too
The
hammered or anything. But
repeatable
yeah,
IPA. Nice.
4.2% alcohol.
I like the can. I like the can. Nice, nice.
Beautiful.
All right, hey, we're going to talk, as we just mentioned, we'll do Army-Navy pick in a minute. We're going to talk a quick preview of the college football playoffs because it got set after last weekend. We got a little Heisman talk because tomorrow night is Heisman night, although I think it's probably already set and done. We got a little NFL news. Could we see Tom Bill 2? That's the buzzword this week. Tom Bill 2 in the Super Bowl. Right now, that's the highest odds at 10%. We'll see about that. Hey, by the way, and then we got a good segment for you. PB&Z's Sportscast is going to give you the chaos. PB happens to think that the Lamar Jackson show is the worst in football. He says he sucks. We'll see. We'll talk about that. By the way, I got to talk briefly, real quick, because our friend Ricky P, who loves our show, Purdue University, #1 in the country, first time in 125 years for NCAA basketball. 3 days. That's all it lasted. They got the one game. They lost to Rutgers last night on a 50-footer buzzer shot to lose the game. Ricky P is happy. I know that because Purdue's gone down after 125 years of never being #1. They lasted 3 days. You know what I was going to mention, PB? Unfortunately, they paid up the bill, but the Phoenix Coyotes owed $1.2 million in taxes, and they were going to be locked out of the arena on December 20th, but somehow or other they came up with the money. What would happen? I don't know. This would have been like the Charlestown Chiefs, right? Slap shot.
Yeah, and I think they're playing the Panthers, Florida Panthers tonight, actually in Arizona.
Oh man, that would have been the wildest thing that you can't play in your home arena. What do you do? I don't know. Hey, last night college football awards. Real quick, 2 highlights out of that in my mind. First of all, Bryce Young, the Alabama quarterback, he won the Davey O'Brien, which is the best quarterback in the country, and he won the Maxwell Award, which is considered the Player of the Year award, probably foreshadowing because he's now one of the 4 semifinalists for the Heisman tomorrow night. But the other one that caught my attention was the Bernardnik, named after Chuck Bernardnik, the Defensive Player of the Year, the kid from Georgia, Jordan Davis, defensive tackle, won it. The guy that did not get even in the finals for it was a kid named Aiden Hutchinson, who's a finalist for the Heisman. He's a defensive end for Michigan. He didn't even get in the finals for the Defensive Player of the Year, but he's in the finals for the Heisman. I don't know. I don't get it. Whatever. Man. All right. Hey, by the way, PB, the Heisman Award, what is that given for? Do you know?
Well, I mean, it's technically like the MVP of the college season, right?
Yes.
Basically. So this year's award, I think right now it's Bryce Young's to lose at this point. He should run away with it in terms of votes, right? I would love to see someone like Hutchinson get it. I was going to mention that because to see a defensive player get it would be pretty cool. But I think it's Bryce Young's award to lose this year.
I'm with you. By the way, the Heisman Trophy Award, I got this right here, awarded annually to the most outstanding player in college football. It doesn't say quarterback, doesn't say offensive player. So to your point, a defensive player could win it. Winners epitomize the great ability combined with diligence, perseverance, and hard work. So Hutchinson would be a likely winner. He could be. But you know who I like? The kid at Pittsburgh, Kenny Pickett. By the way,
they changed the rules because of him.
The Kenny Pickett rule. You cannot fake the slide. PB, I was watching the game live last Saturday night, and I go, oh, my God, they're going to change the rule. I saw the touchdown. I go, it was a great play. I loved it. But quarterbacks everywhere in the country going, we're dead. We're dead from now on. Because if you go to slide, they're going to hit you no matter what if they don't change the rule. They did. Within 4 days, the rule got changed, right?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Good,
And
good.
it should, because otherwise people could do that. And then you're going to get defenders that are going to say, oh, he wasn't actually on the ground yet, so I have every right to nail him. And it would just cause a lot of turmoil. So I'm glad they changed the rule.
I would have kept on going myself going forward if they didn't change that rule.
Yep, I agree.
Nice. All right. Hey, college football playoffs. Man, we had a good weekend last weekend. We had 6 games. We didn't fare that well in our picks. But to me, the big two was the way Alabama manhandled Georgia. Everybody talking about Georgia's front seven being so good. Alabama manhandled them. Do you agree?
Yeah, I watched that whole game. I was very impressed with the way they played them. I'd be interested to see if they have a rematch, what that game would be like for the national championship. We'll talk about that in a little bit with our initial thoughts. But
well, let's start with that, because the other game that really impressed me was Michigan. Not so much that they won, but the convincing fashion, because we both thought 10.5 they can't cover it. They'll win the game, but they won't cover, right?
Yeah, we both took Iowa with the 11 points I think we had.
Yeah, and Michigan just absolutely trounced them. And right now, the way Alabama played, I think that Georgia does not match up well with Michigan. I mean, Michigan played. I don't think they match up well with Michigan. I think Michigan will do the same thing to Georgia's front seven that they did to Iowa.
Yeah, that very well could happen. I mean, Georgia seemed like this untouchable team, right? And here they lose to Alabama, and could they lose, back-to-back weeks to, two obviously powerhouses? What was Alabama was third, and now Michigan's sitting at 2 or 3, wherever they are, right? So, I mean, I agree with you. I think there's a very good chance that Michigan could defeat Georgia in this next game, and I'll probably, I don't know if I'm going to pick it, but we'll see when we get there.
Yeah, we got a couple weeks for that. And by the way, the next game is Cincinnati versus Alabama. And by the way, you would think that's a shoo-in. Alabama's going to beat this non-Power 5 conference. Cincinnati has done what they need to do all year long. And by the way, John Mechie, the star wide receiver from Alabama, out.
He's out.
And I forget the cornerback's name, but their star cornerback is out for the game as well. So I don't know at this point in time, right? We'll see. We'll talk about that in a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah.
All right. Hey, by the way, last week, you were 1-5. I was 2-4. G Money was 0-6. We really weren't on our A game for sure. But we got one game this week. Army, Navy. Army's a 7.5-point favorite. I'm going to say right now, I never pick Army. I'm going to take Navy no matter what. Who do you got?
Yeah, I'll take Navy too with the points. Give me the 7.5, and I'll take Navy.
All right. Hey, NFL last week, Monday night, Pats. Oh my God. What? Buffalo. They should be embarrassed. I know their defensive backs are upset by being asked that question, but you got rolled over by 46 straight runs practically, right?
Yeah, that was an awesome game. I mean, the elements of Buffalo, the wind, the snow blowing, the inability to kick, especially in one direction, the punts that were just going nowhere. It was a tough, in the trench type of football, old school. It was fun to watch.
Hey, little DYK, the last time the Pats threw for that fewer passes was when, do you know?
The Pats or the NFL?
I'll ask you the NFL in a minute, but the Pats themselves. A famous game. The Miami Dolphins were involved in it.
Oh, was it the snowplow game?
The snowplow game, 1982, the last time they threw for that fewer passes. That's correct. That's right. John Smith kicked the field goal to win 3-0. The last time that anybody threw that least of passes was 1974. You know how many times that there's been an NFL team to throw under 5 passes in history?
Just a few, probably, right?
5. And you know what the record is for that team that only threw less than 5?
5-0.
You're right. Can you imagine that? Go figure. It's a pass-happy league, right? And they're 5-0 when you throw less than 5 passes. Who knew that? All right, hey, real quick. Right now, as I mentioned at the top of the show, Belichick, the Brady, and the Patriots, and Brady and the Bucks, best odds 10% right now to beat matching in the Super Bowl. Do you think we'll see it?
I'd like to see it.
Would you like to see it? I would too, right?
I mean,
that's going to be great drama.
Right. I mean, it is the most likely combination right now based on FPI, right? But it's still only a 10% chance of it happening. So there's still a 90% chance that it doesn't happen. So even though it has the best odds, there's still a lot of other combinations that could happen, right? So I hope it happens. I would love to see that.
Here's what's crazy, but each team has a 31% chance to make the Super Bowl today.
I know.
So I don't know. We'll see. Hey, all right. Speaking of no passing, Patrick Mahomes went 2 games in a row now without a touchdown pass, but his KC Chiefs won once again. By the way, I know I say Patrick sucks. I don't say he sucks. I just say he's not the greatest ever. Are they going to start the roll this week, you think? We'll talk about that game in a minute.
Yeah, that's the thing. We know what Patrick Mahomes is capable of, right?
Yeah.
We know what he can do. And there's really not a lot of differences there in terms of the team. And, so they should be able to go out and do it. Sure. I can't quite put my finger on why they haven't been able to. But the good news for them is that they're still winning games despite Mahomes' inability to put up these big numbers and a lot of touchdown passes. So that's a scary team. Everyone's talking about the Patriots right now, but to me, the scariest team in the AFC is the Kansas City Chiefs.
If they keep playing, they're giving up less than 20 points a game right now in the last 3 or 4 games, right? So if they only find their offense again, watch out. Who knows? Hey, last night, the Vikings beat the Steelers in a thriller. At one point in time, the Vikings were up 29-0. They won 36-28. The irony of this game was last weekend, Detroit, no longer winless. They beat the Vikings on the last play of the game on a touchdown pass. Meanwhile, Pittsburgh wins on the last play of the game because Baltimore cannot complete a pass to the tight end, ironically, to lose that game, right? So last night, Pittsburgh had a shot. The tight end dropped the ball in the end zone. So that brings us to the big debate that we have behind the scenes, fans, here on the PB&Z show. PB happens to think Lamar Jackson is not an NFL quality quarterback. I happen to think he's one of the best offensive players in the league. So we're going to talk about that. But first, because we want to set the playing field here to show you that we know what we're talking about, I'm going to ask PB real quick to establish the credibility of us. Tell me what happens in this one play in the spread offense which Lamar runs. It is called trips right, bubble red. What is that play?
Well, trips right means obviously he's got 3 wide receivers lined up on the right-hand side. One of them's probably in the slot, or 2 of them probably off the line of scrimmage.
Good. Yes. They call that the A and the Z are off the line of scrimmage, correct?
Okay. So, and then you have your bubble red, you said?
Yes.
Okay, which means you're probably throwing a bubble screen to one of those 3 players that's going to drop behind the line of scrimmage. It'll still be a forward pass. The lineman will pull out to the right-hand side and try to open up a path for the player to which of those receivers is going to catch the ball to hopefully get, it's probably a play that usually gets you between 6 and 10 yards is what they're probably looking to get in that situation.
Good job. You kind of faked your way through it pretty good. That's all right. That's not bad. So it's the A and the B. They're lined up in the slot. The A is on the left side, usually the B is on the right side. They're trips right, so they're on the right side of the line of scrimmage with the A being the inside guy, the B's on the middle. The Y is the end. He's on the line of scrimmage. The X is the far split end on the other side. And yes, you're correct. The offensive line is pulling out. The offensive tackle is trying to block down to a linebacker, which, by the way, the ball's thrown behind the line of scrimmage so the lineman can block over the line. So there you go. Good job.
Okay. Otherwise you'll have the ineligible receiver downfield by one of the linemen. But a lot of times those screens, though, they could be lateral and they're considered forward passes. So you got to be careful if you're the lineman not to pull until the ball's thrown. Once the ball's thrown, you can do that. You just can't pull out and get advanced beyond that line of scrimmage before the ball's thrown.
Oh, you can advance beyond it. It doesn't matter. As long as the ball's thrown behind the line, they could be beyond the line of scrimmage.
No, I'm saying if it is thrown up, if it's an actual like,
and that's the problem on the quarterback. Which brings us to
but typically that
Lamar sucks. So you're going to tell the fans right now. Now you explain how to throw a bubble screen.
Okay.
Why does Lamar suck?
All right. So first of all, if you just have the eye test, right? The eye test of watching Lamar on the football field, he's uncomfortable in the pocket, right? And how is that evidenced? Well, he is number 1 in the NFL in being sacked right now. So if he's this type of quarterback that's supposed to be able to scramble, able to get out of the pocket, able to make plays happen, why is he sacked more than anybody else in the league? That's my first piece. Also, if you eye test, he has an inability to throw the ball downfield with accuracy. Again, if you look at right now with quarterbacks with 200 pass attempts or more in this league, he is dead last in his longest play from scrimmage. His longest play from scrimmage is 49 yards. That is the lowest of any quarterback in the NFL. So sack more than any quarterback in the NFL, dead last in the NFL in longest completion of the year. So those two things stand out to me. And then on top of that, he has 13 interceptions. That's number 2 overall in the NFL. So his 3 key categories that he's already the worst or second to worst quarterback in the entire NFL on. There's a couple other things where he's in the lower third of the league. He's ranked number 23 in quarterback rating, which is bottom third. He's ranked number 24 in completion percentage, which is bottom third. And then we get him into the middle of the pack with some of these other categories. His QBR is number 16. So that's middle of the pack. The number of yards he's thrown for is number 14. Again, right in the middle of the pack. By the way, he's behind Mac Jones. It's in a very run-centric type of offense. Mac Jones has more yards passing than Lamar Jackson this year. And his 16 touchdown passes are also right in the middle of the pack. By the way, there's a guy that's 44 years old, almost twice his age, that has more than twice the amount of touchdowns than he has at 34 with Tom Brady. So, best thing, we got a couple of 3 key categories. He's last in the league. Some very important categories, he's bottom third. And then all the other categories like QBR, touchdowns, yards. Obviously, with the number of snaps he takes, you're going to get some of those. But even there, he's in the middle of the pack. So I just don't see this as the type of quarterback that can evade the pass rush. He's not making plays when he needs to make plays. He's throwing the ball to the wrong people. And there you have it. He's just an average at best quarterback. And there's no way he's taking the Ravens to the playoffs. And if they do somehow squeak in, I already predicted them to go from number 1 seed to missing the playoffs.
Yeah, right.
If they somehow squeak in with their 9-8 or 10-7 record, whatever they finish with, they're going to lose in the first round.
All right. So I have a hard time quantifying him as someone that sucks. First of all, as we said earlier, the Heisman Trophy is given to the most outstanding player in college football. Lamar won the Heisman in 2016. Oh, not only did he win the Heisman, he won the Maxwell, which is the player of the year, and the Davey O'Brien, which is the quarterback of the year.
Hey, wait.
By
Okay.
the way,
I'll let
his
you go.
Louisville playing days, his number has been retired at Louisville. Only one other guy's number's ever been retired at Louisville, a guy named Johnny Unitas. What? Isn't he considered one of the greatest quarterbacks ever? And this guy's number's retired with him? All right. Secondly, NFL MVP is given to whom? Well, let me read. Since 1957, the award is presented by the AP, recognizing the top player in the league. And, oh, by the way, only 2 players in history have been unanimous winners. 2010, Mr. Tom Brady, you mentioned it. Oh, and then 2019, Mr. Lamar Jackson. 2 times since 1957, unanimous players of the year won the MVP. All right. Youngest quarterback to start a playoff game, Lamar Jackson, 21, 2018. Most yards quarterback in a season, 1,206, 2019. Lamar Jackson. Only quarterback with 2 seasons of 1,000 yards, Lamar Jackson. This is a good one because you say he can't pass. Most games with a perfect passing rating in a season. He tied Big Ben in 2019. He had 2. No one else has done it. Perfect passing rating in a season. Oh, you can't throw touchdowns. 2019, the NFL TD passing leader was, cha-ching, Lamar Jackson, 36. Oh, by the way, he had 46 total touchdowns that season. What is a good what is a good passing rating in general? And you think, when you rate quarterbacks, when they give you a rating, what's a good quarterback rating?
Do you want to be over 100? I mean, a perfect rating is 153.
The average quarterback in the league is around 92.
Right. So you want to be over 100. Over 100 is good.
Lamar Jackson's career rating is 98.1. And last, this season, he's on pace for 4,000 yards and 1,000 rushing. Nobody in the game has ever done that. All right. So I don't know that
All
Lamar
right, well,
sucks.
you have your arguments. I have my arguments. I'm gonna put a bullet hole in one of your arguments about these quarterbacks who have won Heisman trophies. If I go back to, I'll just go back to Matt Leinart, who won it in 2004. You got Tim Tebow, who won it in 2007. Sam Bradford in 2008. Newton, I'll give you that. He had a pretty good career. RG3 in 2011. Johnny Manziel in 2012. Jameis Winston in 2013. Marcus Mariota in 2014. And then you had Jackson.
All good points, but
that's these quarterbacks. I don't give a crap.
He's kept going. He's kept going. The only other one, Cam Newton, won an MVP, right? So the fact is, you don't suck. If you're the most outstanding player in college and then you become the most outstanding player in the NFL, unanimously, only 2 times in history, that's not bad. I think you're kind of good at the end of the day. I hate to say it. You're qualified to be called kind of good.
I don't really care what they do in college. I don't care about these Heisman Trophy winners coming in.
But I just talked about the pros. Let's go back to the stats. Only second guy to be unanimous MVP of his peers in the NFL. 2 times since 1957.
All right. Let's put this to bed by asking.
Most games with a perfect rating. 2 times in the season. Him and Big Ben.
All right, one simple question. You have an AFC championship game, all right? You're going up against, Patrick Mahomes, right, in the AFC championship game. Or you're in the NFC, it doesn't matter. Whatever team, you're going up in the Super Bowl against Tom Brady. You're going up against Aaron Rodgers in the Super Bowl. Who would you pick as a quarterback that you would want playing that game where you would go in saying, we have a legitimate shot at beating Brady, legitimate shot at beating Rodgers, legitimate shot at beating Mahomes?
Here's what I'll say. Yes, what I prefer. I would prefer Brady or Mahomes, but this is what I'm going to say to you right now. If it's the last play of the game, you're at the 50-yard line, Lamar's got the ball in his hands, I'm definitely afraid. Because of all those guys you just mentioned, he's the only guy who can beat you both ways. Running it in or throwing it in. No one else will beat you both ways. And at this age in the NFL, that's a tough weapon. I'll take that all day long. If it's one play...
He's dead last in the league in his longest completion of 49 yards, ranks dead last in the league.
Dude, in 2021, as I just said, his passing ranks 98.1 for his career. He's not always dead last. He's a little bit off this year due to injury. By the way, Tennessee Titans, 88 players used this year. Baltimore Ravens, 86. They're the most used players because they have so many injuries. So I'm not going to say he sucks. I can't say he sucks.
All right. That's a fair. I don't mind you saying he doesn't suck.
That's all. All right, let's get some picks because we're running out of time here. Last week, G Money was 6-0. I don't know how he did it, but he was. You went 3-3. I went 2-4. Let's start with the Ravens at the Browns. What do you got?
After we just hammered Lamar Jackson. And to stick with my prediction of them going from number 1 seed to missing the playoffs altogether, their losing streak will continue when they go into Cleveland this week, and Cleveland takes care of business. So I'm taking the Browns. G
Money had Cleveland as well. I would say that if they didn't lose last week, but the Ravens now have lost last week, they'll make it up. They'll win this week. All right. Raiders at KC. I know this game is like a 9.5-point spread, but Raiders usually win one game against KC. They didn't win the first game. What do you think?
Yeah, Raiders are just on the wrong side of the equation here. They're going in the wrong direction. KC's going in the right direction. It's in Kansas City. Chiefs all day.
Yeah, I'm with you. And so isn't G Money. All right. Cowboys at the Washington football team. Mike McCarthy guaranteed a win. Is that a problem for Dallas?
There's a lot of people that are saying that, if Washington does win this game, now the division's up for grabs. They'll be within a game of the Cowboys. It is going to get scary if they are, and they still have to play again another time. They have 2 games left. But I think on the road, Dallas goes in and wins this one. So I'm going to take the Cowboys.
I'm leaning that way as well, but I'm really worried. Tony Pollard might not play, and Zeke's hurt as well. So who knows? They have to be able to run the ball. If those 2 guys can't play, I don't know, but I'm still taking the Cowboys. I'm with you. All right. San Fran goes to Cincinnati. Joe Burrow's got a broken pinky finger. I don't know. Have you ever tried to throw a ball with your pinky finger broken?
I know it's the last thing the ball's on when it comes off your hand, right? So that's going to be tough. But I saw him play with that at the end of last week, and he was doing okay. So he was actually throwing a couple of seeds. And I like the way Cincinnati's playing. They've been playing well in some of the divisional games. They blew out the likes of Baltimore. They blew out Pittsburgh, but then they play these other teams and they don't look as good. So this is a tough one. But at the end of the day, I think Cincinnati needs to step up and show who is ready to win this division, because Pittsburgh's certainly not ready to win it. Cleveland is certainly not ready to win it, even if they beat Baltimore this week. And you know how I feel about Baltimore. So I think this is Cincinnati's division right now. I really do. I think this is Cincinnati's division to lose. But if they lose this week, it keeps it wide open. If they win this week, they're going to be the front runners. So big game for them. I'm going to take the Bengals.
G Money has San Fran, and I hate to say this, but I'm going to pick San Fran as well, because they actually play better away than they do at home. They have a winning record on the road and 500 at home. So I get San Francisco. I think Jimmy G. By the way, Jimmy G played in Ohio for college, so he's going to like going back there. All right, Bills at Bucks. Brady is 32-3 against the Bills in his career. I know the Bills are upset the way they lost last week to the Patriots, who just beat them down to a man. What do you think?
Yeah, and that 32-3 record's obviously all with the Patriots. It's the first time they'll play Buffalo with the Buccaneers. But in Tampa Bay, the only thing you have to worry about is Buffalo's trying to have this revenge game, right? We've seen it happen a lot this year in the NFL, where teams they lose a game they shouldn't have lost, or they lose a hard-fought game, and then they come back the next week and they look really good. So that could happen with Buffalo, but I still think this is Tampa. So I'm taking the Bucks.
Me as well. 32-3. I think Brady, no matter what the team is, he wins that game. All right, last one. This is a big one. Rams, who have been underperforming all year, play the Cards, who some people say are kind of overperforming. The best two teams in the West. Rams, they kind of need this big time, or else people are going to start doubting they're a legitimate team, right?
Yeah, I agree. And they lost the first time they played 37-20.
Correct.
The Cardinals beat the Rams, and that was in LA, right? So now they have to go on the road. Maybe this is one of those ones where a lot of these conference teams that are really good, they tend to split, right? And sometimes the unlikely scenario of them splitting on the road, right? They win on the road in each other's place. We see that happen from time to time as well. I mean, it could happen this year with the Patriots and the Dolphins. The Patriots lose in New England, but they'll go to Miami and hopefully win that game. Buffalo, they beat in Buffalo, but Buffalo could come back into Gillette and beat the Patriots. So you see a lot of those splits with wins on the road, which is kind of weird, but I think we're going to see that again with this one. So I'm going to take the Rams to beat the Cardinals in Arizona.
Ooh, that's a gutsy pick. All right. I'm kind of with you guys. I think the Rams are for real. By the way, if they don't win this game, I'm done picking them for the rest of the year. So I'm done. All right. Nice discussion tonight, PB and Z Sports Chaos. We're signing off. Have a good weekend, fans. Go Navy.